Hello, future people, and thank you for joining me on this 7th edition of Great Uncle John's weekly video log. It is February the 18th, 2018, and I think what I'll do this time around is I need to get caught up on the news myself, so I'm going to scroll through Google News here and see what catches my interest locally and nationally and internationally. Guy was shot and killed in Nepean. Found him in his car. There's been more murders recently in Ottawa. I guess it's tied to gang violence and the proliferation of guns in the city, but there seems to be more shootings lately. Hard Rock Casino unveils expansion plans. Well, that's interesting because, of course, we live a relatively short drive from the casino, the racetrack, and I think if a Hard Rock goes in there, it'll be good for us entertainment-wise. Weather-wise, the weekend will be warmer, but expect some snow. Indeed, it has been warmer. It was a very nice weekend. It's been nice over the last few days. Temperatures at or slightly above zero. There's been a lot of talk this week about the shooting of Colten Boushie out in Saskatchewan. He was shot on the property of a area rancher. I guess he and his friends had gotten onto the rancher's property and ended up getting shot, and the guy that shot him, the rancher, was acquitted, and that's sparked protests across the country that have gone on for a good part of the week, actually. There's a lot of people outraged about the injustice and unbalance in our justice system. The fact, for instance, that there were no Indigenous people on the jury for that trial certainly raises some concerns. In Ontario, Justin Brown is back in the race for leader. He came back sort of defending his name. He attacked CTV News for defaming him, and he found presented holes in the story of the two young women who have made the accusations. And I guess, and he's rejoined the race for party leader, although I guess he was kicked out of the actual PC caucus. I don't know how the rules work for that party, but he's now running for leader, and there must be some support behind him. I saw a Facebook ad which requires some funds to pay for, and I saw a picture of him at a rally, so I think there's probably a contingent of support out there of people who perhaps are pushing back against the Me Too movement. They think that accusations against someone need to go through a process, and that rushing to summary judgment based on accusations isn't fair. And I think there's definitely there's validity to that point. I think there needs to be process. I think there needs to be investigation. I think both sides need to be able to tell their story. The other three that are running for leadership, Carolyn Mulroney, Elliott, Doug Ford, and this other person who's seems to be a one-issue candidate wanting to reform sex education, make it more Pentecostal or something. I'm not exactly sure what their issue with their sex education is. Again, I'm still sticking with, I like Christine Elliott, and she does seem to be a front runner, but I'm going to stick with my prediction from last time and say that Carolyn Mulroney is going to prevail in this contest, and if she does, that she'll be able to beat Kathleen Wynne. Down south, in the Trump presidency, I'm halfway through the book, by the way. The Fire and Fury book, halfway. I'm not learning anything new, and of course all the revelations from the book have been released in the press by now, so spoiler alert for Fire and Fury. But a point they make, which is interesting, is Trump talks about leaks and leaks in the White House. They all leaked, including Trump. Trump is known for getting on the phone with his rich pals early in the morning and talking and talking. Sometimes 20, 30-minute conversations where he complains and gossips and bemoans what the press are saying about him. And it's pointed out that there's usually not or never an expectation that the person at the other end of that phone call has to keep this information to themselves. So all the factions within the White House, the Jared Kushner, Javanka faction, the Steve Bannon faction back at the time of the writing of the book before he was ousted, and now I guess there's the John Kelly faction. So all these factions leak. They want to place news stories into friendly news outlets to spin public opinion in their direction. So when Trump talks about leaks at his White House, he's talking about himself and everyone that works there. But I'll get through it. Trump's presidency might be over before I actually finish Fire and Fury. I'm a slow reader. I'm a bedtime reader, and I usually read a page and fall asleep. So, oh yeah, there's the horrible shooting in Florida. Some guy, a troubled former student with an AR-15, as usual, shot the place up, and of course you know all about this. The 17 kids killed and 14 injured, and you know the whole hypocrisy around American politics surrounding their guns. Trump, of course, isn't going to do anything. There are ways that the politicians can express their condolences without ever getting at the core problem, which in this case is people getting their hands on assault rifles. And people say, well, you know, a determined person is going to build a bomb. You know what? You're probably right. They will build a bomb, but it's going to weed people out. The impulse killers, the people without the wherewithal to build a bomb will get weeded out, and there's more opportunity for a person to be detected and stopped if they're doing something like building a bomb. Mueller, I guess there we go. In the Mueller investigation, they laid 13 indictments against Russian nationals. And 3 groups who were charged with interfering in the election by buying ads on Facebook and planting false stories and just generally causing mayhem, which I believe continues to this day. Nothing directly touched the president, and of course he was full of his bullshit about it having exonerated him, which I don't think is the case. But I think Mueller is getting closer to the central issues that are at this Russian-Trump affair. So another stripper came forward with news of an affair. When Stormy's going to talk, Stormy Daniels says she's no longer bound by the confidentiality agreement because Trump's lawyer himself broke it. So she's going to start talking. She hasn't already. It is a soap opera. It is a reality TV show. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, future people, and we'll see you next week.